What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. April has passed us. We're now in May. It's been a great year for music thus far, and it's only going to continue as we get closer to the summer. Now, before we get into this month's most anticipated albums, I have to note that something I've been seeing as a recurring theme is that the biggest artists are kind of ditching the traditional rollout. It's something that we've seen for a long time now, but it's more evident as I do these videos. Most of the biggest releases of this year, Drake, Beyonce, Kanye, they didn't even have an actual release date. We knew Drake was dropping in April, but we didn't have the actual date until the 9th. So it gets to a point where it's like, okay, what is this series really about? And to me, the thing that I unintentionally did with this series is kind of create something to hype up other releases, because the artists that still do the traditional album release are the ones that need it. The ones that put out the date a month or two in advance are the ones that still need it, because they're not selling 500,000 copies like a Drake or a Future, so they have to put out and promote accordingly. And that's kind of what this series is doing. So I think if you as a viewer watches this video and walks away thinking, I'm going to listen to this album when it comes out on this day, then I think I've done my job with this series. Now, getting into it, let's start with May 6th. May 6th is going to have two releases. First off is Rittz, top of the line, his third album. Rittz is someone who has just an amazing sound. I love the fact that he's good at telling stories, that he gets good production, and that he just has like a carefree attitude. Like he has no remorse in dissing in voicing his distaste for this generation of hip hop. It's funny, and he also does it pretty creatively. And I love the fact that he does his double time flows. And his first two albums are really good. I'm interviewing them next week, so if you have any questions, definitely throw it in the comment section, and if it's good enough, I might throw it in there. But I think Top of the Line is going to be a good album. It has some really big features on it. E40's on it. Mike Posner, who I feel should do a project with Rittz at this point. They have the best chemistry that I've seen in a while. And you got Devin the Dude, you got MJG, of course Tech Nine, Chris Calico. It just looks like an overall good album, and I can't wait to really listen to it and get into everything that is on the album. Also dropping that day is Skepta's Konnichiwa, and I only heard a couple Skepta songs. I'm not a person that like, oh, Drake co-signed this guy, let me go listen to him. No, I happened to stumble upon it because I was having a conversation with John Gotti of the Smoking Section, and he was telling me, this record is what really made me a fan. So I checked it out, and it's a good record. I can't remember, but I know it's on the album. It's one of the songs on the album, and I think I'm going to look forward to listening to it. I think he has a nice voice. The flow on the song that I did listen to was good, so I'm looking forward to really becoming familiar with his music and seeing if like the cosign from Drake actually means something. Like, I think I've spoken about it in the past, I'm not a big fan of like a lot of the artists that Drake cosigns, but I'm willing to give them a listen. And I think with Skepta, I feel like I'm not going to be disappointed when I finally listen to the album on May 6th. Fast forward a couple weeks, we got May 20th, Havoc and Alchemist, The Silent Partner. I think it goes without saying that Havoc is one of the best producers. Of course, Alchemist is as well. Both of them are. And then you have Havoc. He's very underrated with the rapping, and I think he gets overshadowed by Prodigy in the case of Mobb Deep. When you think of a lot of times, I mean, I'm sure like the diehard hardcore fans will say, no, they're equal, blah, blah, blah. But I think a lot of the times when I think about it, Prodigy kind of overshadows Havoc. But Havoc is no slouch on the microphone himself, and that's why I'm looking forward to The Silent Partner. They got a record with Method Man that it just feels like Method was right at home on that Alchemist beat. And I was like, man, this is such a good song. So I'm looking forward to hearing The Silent Partner on May 20th. The final album of the month, and definitely not limited to these ones, but these are the ones that have release dates, as I've stated, is Mr. F.A.B, Son of a Pimp 2. This album features everybody. Kendrick Lamar, 2 Chainz, Lupe Fiasco. Man, there's just so many. I can't even begin to name them all. It's like every song has a guest feature on it, which is going to be a good thing and a bad thing. The good is that people are going to pay attention. Mr. F.A.B has a new verse from Kendrick Lamar that we never heard. I'm sure a lot of people are going to tune into that. On the flip side, though, it's bad because Son of a Pimp 2 feels more of a collaboration album than, you know, just being a Mr. F.A.B album. Like, I don't want him to just get overshadowed by all the guests. And I think that's going to draw a lot of people in. But I also hope that Mr. F.A.B himself has enough presence to where the listener walks away becoming a fan of his. And maybe even checks out Son of a Pimp 1 or some of the other albums in his discography. Mr. F.A.B is a superb artist. And I know Son of a Pimp 2 has been in the works for so long. I remember talking to Mr. F.A.B in like 2009, 2010, I want to say, maybe even 2011. And we were talking about the record that he has with Lupe Fiasco. I don't know if it's the same one, but to date we haven't heard a Mr. F.A.B and Lupe Fiasco record. So I know that I'm going to guess that this is that record and that it has been able to stand the test of time. So, Son of a Pimp 2 comes out May 27th. That concludes this month's most anticipated albums. There will be much more dropping, mixtapes out of the sky, surprise albums, whatever. And definitely subscribe to the channel to catch all of that. The reviews, the discussions, interviews, all kinds of things. So like the video. Follow me on Twitter if you're not already, at Sermons Domain. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.